Shaquille O'Neal, the Diesel, the Big Aristotle, Shaq Fu. Whatever you call him, he's one of the most dominant centers in NBA history. Never much of a shooter, but at times he was simply unstoppable under the rim. Any list of top centers would be incomplete without including Shaq. His career lasted 19 years in total. He played for 6 different teams and alongside some of the NBA's greats. Nobody doubts that Shaq was great, but when was he at his greatest? Today, we're going to analyze stats, achievements, and defining moments to try to determine. In 1992, at the age of 20, Shaq would leave LSU and choose to participate in the NBA draft. As a surprise to no one, the 7'1" center was chosen first by the Orlando Magic.
With the first pick in the 1992 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic selects Shaquille O'Neal from Louisiana State University.
But as most first draft picks, he was not drafted to a very good team. In the previous season, the Magic had finished with a 21-61 record and were not seen anywhere near the playoffs. In Shaq's first year in the league, he would average an impressive 23.4 points per game to go along with 13.9 rebounds and 3.5 blocks. Oddly enough, the 3.5 blocks per game average would be the highest of his career, but he still came in far behind that year to Hakeem Olajuwon for league leader, who had 4.2 per game. 13.9 rebounds would have led the league in many seasons, but this year Rodman had an amazing 18.3 per game, again putting Shaq in second place. Unfortunately this season he would also set career highs for most fouls and turnovers per game. He actually averaged twice as many turnovers as he did assists and led the league in turnovers. Shaq was a center, and the nature of that position isn't as heavily focused on assists and turnovers, but this assist to turnover ratio is just unacceptable and something in which he had to improve. His first season had mixed success in that he didn't have a great degree of basketball intelligence, but he was a huge part of the team right from the beginning. This season was successful enough to earn him the Rookie of the Year award. The Magic would again miss the playoffs despite improving their record to an even 41-41. His biggest achievements for this season were the Rookie of the Year award, the Magic's improved season record. He finished second in blocks with 3.5 and second in rebounding with 13.9. With the year of experience under his belt, Shaq learned how to limit his turnovers. He also became an efficient scorer with 29.3 points per game, second in the league, as well as the league's best field goal percentage of 60% and the most field goals made. He learned from what he did wrong the last season and didn't make the same mistakes twice. In just his second season, Shaq was one of the best players in the league. The team added Penny Hardaway to their roster this year, further helping the team go from average to good, finishing the season with a 50-32 record, but still losing in the first round 0-3 against the Pacers. The highlights of this season were a higher basketball IQ, more efficient scoring, and an improving team. The 1994-1995 season was big for Shaq and the Magic. This year Shaq led the league in field goals made, attempted, field goal percentage, and points to earn a scoring title. His rebounding was 11.4 per game, coming in second again only to Dennis Rodman. To prove he was further improving his handling and basketball intelligence, this was the first year his assist average was higher than his turnovers. The team improved their record for the third year in a row, now ending at 57-25, which was first in their division. But the biggest part of this year was the playoffs. In the second round of the playoffs, they were matched up against Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. Normally you would see the matchup against the Bulls on the schedule and start preparing yourself for a loss. But if you follow Michael Jordan's career or saw my previous video, you know that this was the year that Michael Jordan had just recently came back in the league after, well. So Jordan was in good shape, but not for basketball. He had been away from the game for well over a year and couldn't compete against Shaq and the Magic. The Magic won the series 4-2 and handed Jordan his only playoff loss between 1991 and 1998. It's not exactly like he beat the Bulls team that we all know from that era, but if I beat Michael Jordan in the playoffs in the mid-90s, I would never stop bragging about it. The Magic would get their revenge and beat the Pacers in a 7-game series in the next round to move on to the finals. Here they would face the NBA champion Houston Rockets, and Shaq would be matched up against the other greatest big man in the league, Hakeem Olajuwon. Magic lost in 4 games, but Shaq got his first exposure to the finals and would be able to take it as a learning experience. The biggest parts of this season were his scoring title, a still improving team, he beat Michael Jordan in the playoffs, and he made it to the finals. The 1995-1996 season would be Shaq's last as a member of the Orlando Magic. Michael Jordan was back in full swing this season and took over most of the scoring and field goal titles Shaq had possessed the year before. Shaq scored 26.6 points per game and came in third in scoring. He also maintained the solid blocking, rebounding, and field goal percentage numbers that we had come to expect from him. He made 1 3-pointer this season. I'm not saying that as a negative. That's actually a positive. It was the only one he made in 19 years and 1,207 games in the NBA. For the 4th year in a row, the Magic would improve their season record to 60 wins. They beat the Pistons and the Hawks to meet the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals. This time the Magic lost in 4 games, and the Bulls would go on to win the finals. This is the part I wouldn't mention when bragging about beating Jordan in the playoffs. Even though the season was over, the biggest achievement of this year had yet to come.
Who dare to wake me? Ain't gonna make this a mystery. Don't wanna do time on your wishes 3. Watch it, boy. You don't wanna diss me.
So in summarizing this year, Shaq finished 3rd in scoring. The team had an improved record yet again with 60 wins. He made a 3-pointer, and he had a near Oscar nomination. The 1996-1997 season brought on the first major change in Shaq's career. This is the year he would join the Lakers, the team that I think of when I think of Shaquille O'Neal. But this wasn't quite the Lakers team that it had soon become. The previous season, the Lakers had a record of 53-9. Which is decent, but still worse than the Magic's record in that same year. The previous season had ended with the Lakers losing in the first round of the playoffs. Phil Jackson was not coach yet. He was still winning championships on the Bulls. Kobe Bryant had joined the team in that same year, but he was just an 18-year-old rookie straight out of high school at the time. Shaq left a team that had basically improved every year since his rookie season to join a questionable Lakers team. Overall, Shaq adjusted well to the new team and was able to maintain similar statistics. The ending season record was similar to the previous season at 56-26, and they lost against the Jazz in the second round of the playoffs. The Jazz would soon go on to lose to the Bulls in the finals. So in the 1996-1997 season, he adjusted to a new team, but importantly, it was the beginning of his Lakers career. 1997-1998 season was a big improvement for the Lakers. Kobe Bryant had his rookie season over with and had doubled his scoring average. Shaq would end with 28.3 points per game and come in second in scoring behind only Michael Jordan. See, my rule is that anytime you are second only to Michael Jordan, you're doing pretty good. The Lakers roster now included Rick Fox and Robert Horry. The combined talents were able to earn Shaq 61 wins in the season, more than he had ever had before. They made it to the Western Conference Finals, but just as the Bulls were dominating the East, the Jazz were dominating the West. They lost to the Jazz in 4 games, and once again the Jazz went on to lose to the Bulls in the finals. In this season, the Lakers had an improving record at 61 wins, and Shaq came in second in scoring. The 1998-1999 season is known as being a shortened season due to an NBA lockout. The season actually didn't start till mid-January, But more importantly, this is the first year without Michael Jordan in the league. The Bulls had fallen apart and their dynasty was over. The floor was finally open, and all the teams had a better chance to win once again. This was perfect timing for the Lakers. They had just put together their team and had a couple of years' experience together. Shaq had adjusted to a new team, and Kobe had higher rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and points than he had in the previous 2 seasons. Shaq finished second in scoring, this time behind Allen Iverson, but would lead the league once again in field goal percentage and field goals made. The team was ready to make a real playoff run that year, but they were quickly stopped early on in the second round in 4 games by the Spurs, who would go on to win the finals that year. The best thing we could say about Shaq for this season is his overall scoring dominance. The 1999-2000 season is the year that everything finally came together for Shaq. The Lakers hired a new head coach named Phil Jackson. All through his career, Shaq had played consistently and was usually surrounded by good players, but for whatever reason, he couldn't even seem to make it to the finals, with the exception of the 94-95 season. The outlook was very positive for the Lakers this year. Shaq led the league in scoring at 29.7 points per game, which was his highest scoring average ever. His teammate Kobe Bryant was number 12 in scoring at 22.5 points per game. Kobe was a great contributor to the team, but at this point, Shaq was clearly still the leader. He led the league once again in field goals made and field goal percentage. This season gave him his highest assist average of his career at 3.8 per game. These achievements helped Shaq win his only MVP award. He led the team to the league's best record at 67-15. They beat the Kings, Suns, and Trailblazers to meet Reggie Miller and the Pacers in the finals. Both Reggie and Shaq were seeking their first title. The Lakers won it in 6 games, and Reggie Miller would never make another finals appearance. After 8 years in the league, Shaq had finally won an NBA title. The major points of this season were his personal best in assists, his scoring title, the league's best record, an MVP award, and his first NBA championship. The Lakers were now defending champions. This year, Shaq kept his scoring high at 28.7 points per game, making him third in the league, just edging out the person behind him, who had 28.5 points per game. The name of the person that was behind him? Kobe Bryant. Kobe was getting much better. This was his 5th year in the league and he was now 22 years old. Shaq would once again finish the season with the most field goals made and the best field goal percentage. He also finished third in rebounding. They finished with a worse record than the previous season, at 56-26, but this was not reflective of their playoff run. They beat the Trailblazers in the first round 3-0, beat the Kings in the second round 4-0, beat the Spurs in the third round 4-0, and beat the 76ers in the finals 4-1. The entire playoff run resulted in a 15-1 record, the best playoff record to this day. We hear a lot about Golden State holding the best season record at 73-9, and how they beat the Bulls' 72-10 record. But I view this Lakers record as being more impressive. In the regular season, all players aren't giving full effort. If you win in the regular season, it usually means you were better that day. But if you win in the playoffs, it basically means you are the better team. The Lakers this year I would rank as one of the best teams ever, and easily the best team Shaq has ever been a part of. So what is there to say about this season? The best playoff record in the NBA, and a second straight championship. The next year, the Lakers were seeking a three-peat. The term three-peat was actually coined by Pat Riley in the 1980s when he was coach of the Lakers. They had won championships in 87 and 88, and Pat Riley used the term three-peat when referring to the 89 championship that they were trying to win. The 89 championship ended up going to the Pistons, and the Lakers three-peat was not realized. Until the 2001-2002 season, Shaq had slightly lower overall numbers this year, but still finished second in scoring with 27.2 points per game. He didn't really lead the league in any other categories. They finished with a solid 58-24 record and had another great playoff run. The Western Conference Finals went to Game 7, but Kobe and Shaq's combined effort won the game against the Kings. The Lakers beat the Nets in the finals in 4 games to bring them their 3rd straight championship. For this season, we have to mention the three-peat and the redemption of the 1989 Lakers. Winning 3 straight championships at this point is something that had been done a number of times before. It was the third three-peat in 10 years. We saw one in 93, 98, and now in 2002. 4 championships in a row was the next level for an NBA team to try to reach. In both three-peats, Jordan left the team the following year and never tried for the 4th. In this case, the team was staying together, and there was no real reason why it couldn't happen. However, Shaq was now 30 years old. It was the first season where he started to show his age. In the past, Shaq had either led or finished highly in the categories of most field goals and points per game, but that wasn't the case this year. He came in 6th in field goals and 9th in points. Kobe Bryant would now lead the league in both of these categories. This was, however, the year that Shaq had the highest free throw percentage of his career, 62.2%. I know you're thinking that isn't a high percentage at all, but it's actually the only season Shaq finished above 60%. Poor free throw shooting was one of the weakest parts of his game. For this reason, Shaq led the league in free throw attempts for many seasons, but never came close to leading in free throws made. The regular season was underwhelming, when they didn't even finish first in their division, but the hope was that they would still pull it together for the playoffs, but it never happened. They only made it to the second round, where they would lose to the soon-to-be champion San Antonio Spurs.
3, and Derek Fisher and the rest of the Lakers knows that it's over.
People try to theorize what exactly went wrong this year. I think it was the fact that Shaq was still playing at a high level, but Kobe Bryant was a younger and more athletic player at this point. The team was now more centered around him rather than Shaq, and the new playing style hadn't worked the way the old one did. Shaq's biggest achievement for this year was his highest career free throw percentage. The 2003-2004 season was Shaq's last year on the Lakers. After 18 years on the Jazz, the Lakers added Karl Malone to their roster. Here he played his only 42 games outside of a Utah uniform. He was 40 years old at the time, and I can't imagine he could have made much of an impact at this point. Shaq was older now too, and his scoring was way lower. He went from 27.5 points per game the previous year to 21.5 this year. He scored much less, but still scored efficiently, leading the league in field goal percentage once again. The Lakers made it to the finals but lost to the Pistons in Game 5. Game 5 was Shaq's last game in a Lakers uniform. The biggest things to say about this year is how he had the league's highest field goal percentage and he made a finals appearance. With Shaq gone, the Lakers would plummet to a losing record and not make it to the playoffs. Shaq started this season on the Miami Heat, where he joined Dwayne Wade in his second season. Shaq would adapt nicely to the new role on the new team, and have similar stats to his previous season. Shaq scored 22.9 points per game, and Wade had 24.1. Even though this was the first year the new team had played together, the season could be considered a success, finishing with a 59-23 record and blowing past the first 2 rounds of the playoffs without a loss, only to lose in Game 7 to the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. Shaq's biggest achievements for this year were adjusting to a new team and having a decent playoff run. In the 2005-2006 season, Shaq would have his lowest scoring, rebounding, assist, and steals numbers since he entered the league, 20 points per game, 9.2 rebounds per game, 1.9 assists per game, and 0.4 steals, the first time he didn't average in double-digit rebounds. A big factor in these decreased numbers is a lower playing time. He played significantly lower minutes in each game than he had in the past. Alternatively, he had one of the highest field goal percentages since he entered the league, and the best out of anyone else for that season. He was no longer the team leader. He had gone from star of the team to a solid support player. Toward the end of his Lakers run, he had taken sort of a backseat to Kobe Bryant, but it was happening now much more than ever before. Dwayne Wade was the focus of the team, and Shaq was there to help. Pat Riley was named head coach in the middle of the season. The Heat made it to the finals where they beat the favored Dallas Mavericks in an intense series.
You're Miami, do you foul? Don't let him shoot a three.
That's right, this is smart now. Are you going to foul?
Terry puts it up, won't go, rebound Wade. The Miami Heat, they've done it. They win their first championship in franchise history.
This would earn Shaq his fourth and final championship, but this time, Dwayne Wade would be awarded the finals MVP. The summary for this season for Shaq: he switched up roles and became a successful support player, and of course, the NBA championship. The season following the championship was a letdown. Shaq missed almost half the season with a knee injury. His scoring average dropped below 20 points per game for the first time ever. Many of Shaq's other stats were career lows as well. It seemed every season his averages dropped below the last. They made the playoffs in an okay record, but were swept by the Bulls in the first round. But the season did include this. So the best part of the 2006-2007 season for Shaq is the LeBron dance-off. In the next season, Shaq would spend the first part of it in Miami and then get traded to the Suns in the second part. His stats continued to fall, and by the end of the season he had averaged only 13.6 points per game, even though he played similar minutes to the last season. In the summary of this season, there's really not much worth mentioning. In the 2008-2009 season, Shaq played 75 games for the Phoenix Suns, in which he averaged a 61% field goal percentage. This led the league. The rest of his stats made a small increase from the previous season, including his minutes. This season still wasn't impressive, but it was a little better than the previous one. But then this season brought us this. So to summarize this season, a slight overall improvement, and an all-star dance. In the 2009-2010 season, Shaq moved to the Cavaliers where he played with LeBron James. A thumb injury only allowed him to play 53 games of the season. Again, most of his averages were lower than ever. They had 61 wins in the season, but Shaq wasn't really responsible for it. Both Shaq and LeBron would leave the team the next year. For this season, nothing worth mentioning. The 2010-2011 season was his last. He played for the Celtics this year. Well, part of the year. He only played 37 games due to injury once again. His averages weren't great and not worth mentioning. He was 38 years old when he retired. For this season, there's really nothing worth mentioning again. The teams Shaq played for toward the end, such as the Suns, Cavaliers, and Celtics, weren't bad teams. But at this point in his career, he wasn't making much of an impact on them, so I felt it wasn't necessary to go in depth about the team dynamics and the other players. In my mind, his career really ended with the 2006 Miami Championship. Everything after that, Shaq was barely an average player. So in determining his best season, everything after 2006 just didn't have a chance. The 2006 season itself had some potential, but that championship was more due to Wade than anything. The years he spent in Orlando were given consideration, but it just seemed like he wasn't reaching his full potential during those years. His Lakers years were the highlight of his career. He had the help he needed in Kobe Bryant and the rest of the team, as well as a winning coach. The first few years on the Lakers were building years. The 2000 season was the most incredible individual performance from Shaq, which propelled them into a championship. The 2001 season was the best team performance. The 2002 season somehow felt like a declining year, even though they still won the title. The rest of the years on the Lakers were declining years as well. That's why I think the top two candidates for Shaq's best season are the 1999-2000 season and the 2000-2001 season, and the winner has to be... He put up some of the best numbers of his career, won the scoring title above all the other players in the league. His team had the best record in the NBA, and this was the only year of his 19 that he won the MVP award. All of this led to him finally winning his first NBA championship. Few people ever had a season as good as Shaq had here. This is the Laker championship that I feel he is most individually responsible for. The following season was better for the Lakers overall, but the level that Shaq played in this season can't be denied, and I had to call it his best season. So do you agree with this? Is there another one that stands out to you? If you say you think anything after 2006 was better, you should have some good points to back it up. So let me know in the comments. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and want to see more in a similar style, be sure to subscribe by clicking the logo so you know when I upload a new one.